Well, it's senior day weekend, and the Dogs right now have a big series coming up at Colorado State on Friday through Sunday. And we're here with senior third baseman Vonnie Martin from Plano, Texas, kind of looking back over her career here with the Bulldogs. Let's go back to the very start. Softball, kind of what age you started playing, the name of your team, and maybe the positions you played back then.
I think the very first team I can remember playing for was a rec team, actually, in Plano, Texas. I played for the Dodgers. They weren't very good, but my dad put me on the team. At that time, we didn't know there was actually like a select league, and so I just kind of played for them, and wherever they needed me, I kind of played. I caught. I played first base a lot in my early years, and then some outfield. After that, I moved to a club team called the Dirt Devils. That was the first select team I ever played for. They're the ones that really taught me more about the sport than I probably could ever thought was involved. But I had a great coach, played with them for about 3 years, and then went on to several other teams to grow in the career softball.
Did you play any other sports besides softball back then?
Oh yeah, I played basketball, and then like later on in middle school, I did track too. So.
What were your track events?
I did shot put and discus. I was a thrower.
So then talk about maybe your high school and the club route there, who you played for, and some of the highlights those teams had.
My high school teams, I actually kind of moved around a lot. I played on this Ricochet team. They were pretty good. Who else? Glory was a big name team back in Texas. It's kind of like a Corona Angels for California, so they're one of my highlight years. And then after that, I played for the Texas Elite, who is also a pretty big name, and I ended up with them and Coach Baker, and she taught me a lot about how to go into college softball, how to field position, how to make sure I hit the ball correctly, a lot of that type of thing, and what I needed to do to be a successful player.
What were some of the memories you have of her? I think she told you had to focus on.
Mainly, one thing she really wanted me to focus on was everything I do. I just had to either hustle and put my best effort into it. Like that was one of the main things that she knew would carry on through college ball, and not even really skill-wise. She knew I was, or she told me I was talented. So as long as I hustled and I tried my hardest at everything, I'd be successful.
Any highlights for those teams?
I mean, there were a couple. I had some pretty fun road trips, like you said, Colorado. We went to that trip, and my parents couldn't make it, so me and my best friend drove up there, and they got us a hotel room, and we just had a great time exploring the city and then getting to play, walking around Aurora and all the little shops they have out there. It was an awesome time.
I know you probably started from the scratch. Do you have any funny memories or funny stories back there, those early days playing softball?
I think one of the funniest things was my dad would when me and my brother were little, he would take us to the park, and my mom would like go stand in the outfield and catch, and he'd pitch to us. And one time I hit the ball up, and I looked up, and it came down and hit me in the eye. And after that, like, we had to go. I was done with softball for the rest of my career, I thought. And he was like, "No, you're not quitting." And after that, it got better, of course. But I remember just never wanting to play softball after that moment ever again.
How old were you then?
Probably like 5 or 6. I don't know.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So now when you're looking at maybe colleges, or what attracted you to Fresno State?
I love the atmosphere, the environment. I think one of the biggest things, though, was how it was a lot like my high school. And campus-wise, everything was kind of relatively close. It wasn't too spaced out. And then they have a gorgeous field, and I loved how it's all together like that. And the community that backs them is something that I think is really important to have when you're playing a collegiate sport or any type of sport for that matter.
You've had a chance to kind of play for two different coaches here. Coach Wright, who was a Hall of Fame coach there. When you walked the door there, then Coach Ford here the last 2 years here. And so you probably had been blessed with some different styles and different ways to learn the game there. What are some things you basically have been, maybe ways you've changed your game in the last few years to become a Division I, Mountain West player?
I've probably focused more on the details of actually hitting and throwing. I know I've learned so much in these past 2 years, more than I've probably ever even picked up in my whole career of softball, but mainly the details and focusing on what I need to do to be successful and doing it right. That way, when I go out there, at least I have the basics down, and the rest will follow.
Well, you've actually had a great career. I didn't play a ton that first year, but since then you have 16 home runs. That's number 11 all-time school record history, and also number 14-game hitting streak last year, ranks top 10 in school history, and also this year you had 34 walks, that's one of the top marks of the conference, and also the nation that is, and also ranks 5th in school history. I mean, how would you find that balance of being a home run hitter, but also have get all these walks at the same time?
I think that's probably one of the hardest things to do for me, especially because I have a problem with patience and being able to sit and wait for a strike to come across the plate. It's a hard thing, especially when you want to hit the ball. You know, you go out there and you want to help your team be productive. There's runners on base in scoring position. You don't want to get a walk, being one of the power hitters on the team. But I think like my dad did a pretty good job teaching me to see the pitch or see the ball well, and know what pitches are strikes and which ones are balls. And so having to be selective and patient is just one thing I keep working on, and seeing the pitch that I know I can hit and not the one that I'm forcing myself to.
So what's your dad's advice here? He's watching these games on the internet the past few games or few months here.
Yeah, in the past couple series, he's definitely been telling me to be patient and see strikes, Vonnie. Like that's one thing he texts me after every game. Stay patient in the box. Make sure you see the ball, and then put a good swing on it. So.
Well, you're a fun player to watch. You have such huge hits in critical times of these games. As far as whether it be a home run or it's a single, I mean, you're always one of the teams play these clutch hits there. What's kind of your focus when you get to those later innings and it's a key, at bat?
I kind of just try and keep it simple. See the pitch out of see the ball out of the pitcher's hand, and then kind of move from there. I actually enjoy those kind of situations. It's like you have a moment to change a game or change how things end up, and I think that's probably one of the best parts of softball, is being able to control that as a person and helping your team be successful. I love that part about it, and so when I get up there in those moments, I try and take advantage of them and make the best of it.
Well, you're an all Mountain West player there last year, and probably have a shot again this year at third base. But also in the classroom, you're also one of the team's top, student athletes as far as being all academic Mountain West, and probably again this year. Talk about some of your favorite classes you've had so far.
I've taken some design classes. I've actually loved the machining, and we got a project. I think last fall I had a project where I got to use a 3D printer and print out a part and use it in one of our. It was called a wind walker, and you put it together, and basically the wind made this machine walk, and that was probably one of the funnest classes I've had.
So that 3D printer, is that on campus?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, what's the craziest thing you've tried to print with, or seen someone else try to print with that?
I haven't seen that many crazy things. They're actually kind of expensive to use, so we're not allowed to do too much with them, but they are available for schoolwork and stuff like that. But, yeah. I mean, on the internet I've seen some pretty crazy things. They're printing out guns and like anything you could think of they're able to print. That's crazy.
Oh my goodness. Well, I know you've probably had a lot of people help you get to this far at this point of your career. Talk about some of the people you want to thank, whether it be family or friends or teammates or former coaches.
One of the biggest things I think I've learned in college is that I've been truly blessed, and so I want to thank God for giving me an opportunity and a gift to play softball. I would have never even thought of coming to college to play ball until my dad decided to, hey, let's try it out and see what happens. But like without the gift that I have, I wouldn't be able to be here. I want to thank my parents for telling me they love me all the time and trying to talk to me and teaching me the game and which way to go in life with my ethics and morals and everything. I want to thank Coach Baker, my travel ball coach from the last year, who taught me a lot about college softball as she played the game, and actually helped me get here with Coach Wright, because she ended up playing with her at one point in her life, and she told me she was a great person and a great role model. I want to thank my hitting coach from back home, and his name's Mark Mulvaney. He's a great coach. He's one of the first ones that ever taught me to even hit a home run, and so without him, I don't know what I would be like. That's about it. I mean, I have so many coaches in my life. They've all impacted me. I thank all of them too. David, he was a great coach. I mean, that's pretty much it.
So give us your major right now, and also kind of what your career path might be after your playing career's done.
My major is mechanical engineering. I would like to, hopefully one day in my life, design airplanes or jets. Either one would be fine. I find them really interesting. I actually want to design my own boat too, but that was more of a personal goal than an actual career path. But yeah.
I know this is such a great place to play here at Bulldog Stadium. Talk about some of your favorite memories playing here from the stadium.
I think one of my best favorite memories was my sophomore year when I finally got to play, and I came out, and I knew it was a big game, but I was excited to be here because of all the fans and everything. We have such a great crowd and such great parents that I just couldn't wait to come out here and play and see all the things that fall into place.
You also had a chance at the Grand Slam last year against UTEP, and also key late home runs there this year. Any other highlights stand out? It would be on the road or here.
I think one of my favorite tournaments was my sophomore year. The end of my sophomore year, we went to New Mexico. I don't like the state that much, but it was windy, it was rugged out there, it was raining, and we battled through. We lost our first game, but we battled through to make it to the championship round. I think my favorite part of that was playing San Jose State, and I was able to come through with a couple of home runs, and we were able to win that game, and it was probably one of the most impacting times for me because I really struggled off that pitcher before, and I didn't even think it was possible to be able to do that, and for me to be able to was just life-changing for me to see I can do anything if I really focus and hard enough and put the work in for it.
From my experience here this past year, I've been coached for this team that it always tries to reinforce how much this is a family and how great, how much support there is. Talk about some of the memories you'll have of this team off the field.
Starting back from my freshman year, I mean, those girls were all like seniors. My junior class that year, they were awesome. They let us come over, hang out. They cooked for us. They did so much for us and to help us get to be a part of the family. And then moving on to my sophomore and junior and senior year, I mean, I've grown so close to the Ortiz family, some Stesh's family, and so many other people that I've just been able to be around so long, or for 3 years now. And I mean, I love hanging out with them at the tailgates and getting to know each and every one of them and talking with them. It's like my own family here.
I mean, you made the family Christmas card for the Ortizes there. That's something that's going to happen again next year, you think?
I'd hope so. I hope to see them every Thanksgiving or every holiday at one point or another and be there with them for that.
I mean, being the lone player not from California on this team, I mean, how awesome is that to have that kind of family here in the state?
I think it definitely makes a difference for me. Like, I don't get to go home as much, so whenever people do go home, I kind of just go with them and rain on their parade, but I always have a good time at their house and being with their family and enjoying their food and culture and everything. So
the team right now is ranked first in the conference by a game ahead of Colorado State there, but also has some probably games they probably weren't as happy about early in the season. And what does this basically touch about life and things you can use later as lessons to learn from?
I think even out of the season and in past seasons, I've learned that hard work and dedication to a sport is definitely going to get you far in life, or in anything. Hard work and dedication will get you far, and to keep working even if you don't get as far as you'd like to, because it may help you in another point in your career or another time, and you never know when it's fully over. You never know what's going to happen next or where you're going to end up, and I think that as long as you have a good outlook on it and put your best foot forward, then you'll always be successful in what you do and to treat people right.
It's going to be a great weekend as far as Senior Day on Sunday, but also Saturday with the stadium rededication. Margie Wright Diamond, I mean, you obviously were recruited by her as a coach when she was a coach. Talk about kind of like how special that is for you and maybe your memories of her as a coach.
I think that's going to be an awesome feeling, being able to come back and end my career here with her. And as I started with her, it's kind of ironic that happened, but I think it's a blessing in itself. And I think some of my favorite memories and things I've learned from her are that as long as you push through the hard times, like you'll always be successful. Whether you end up on top or not, there's still success to be found in the things that you've done. And I mean, her being the winningest coach has taught me that even if you aren't the best team on the field, if you play your potential, you never know what could happen. And I feel like that's mainly impacted me because I never thought I was ever, somebody who could stand out at third base or anything. But as long as you keep working hard, you never know what could happen.
They're definitely a cleanup hitter, one of the team's top leaders and hitters, and also fielders too. A great fielder too. So congratulations to you on a great career. Look forward to seeing you there on Sunday in the field with your family and friends there. And look ahead to Friday's game at 6 o'clock against Colorado State, and then Saturday with the stadium renamings at 2 o'clock, and Sunday is going to be a noon start. And go Dogs.